Over the last few months, I've actually gone back to the book of Acts and have looked through the book of Acts because that's where the church really found its footing. That's where God birthed the early church. And you know what I found about the church in the book of Acts? I found out that they struggled with a lot of things. There were some that felt abandoned and that felt like they were in it all by themselves, or that others were being favored over them. There were others that were not content with the church programs that they had going on. There was doctrinal differences and disputes that they had going on all through the book of Acts. There was a lack of transparency in finances, and some people didn't feel abandoned. They just felt left out. They felt like others were getting more attention than they were. And so really, when it comes down to it, I was fascinated by looking at all of this because the church back then was really a mess. I mean, they were an absolute mess. Yet in the midst of the mess, God was doing these amazing things. Miracles were happening. People were being added to their numbers. God was at work. And even though they were a mess, they were a beautiful mess because God was leading and guiding and directing them. He was taking them to new horizons. And that imperfect group of people being led by God literally changed the world. I'll tell you what, as I was reading through all this and as I've been studying this, it's just been so encouraging to me because it's so easy for us to look at the mess that we're in, whether it be in our own lives or our church, and it can be frustrating and discouraging. But to know that the people in the early church, they had their own mess, yet God used them in extraordinary ways. I don't know about for you, but for me, that excites me to think about the possibilities of what God can do in our midst. So this is what we're going to do. Over the next 10 weeks, we are going to go and look at the early church, and we're going to see how God changed them and used them to make an impact on the world around them. I can't even tell you how excited I am about this series because I believe that it has some incredible implications for our church today. So this is what I want to ask of you. I want you to be here the next 10 weeks. I want you to make it a priority to be here on Sundays, whether it's in Cooley Dam or Elmira. Come and join us. I think you're going to be inspired. I think you're going to be challenged. And I think you're going to be moved by what we find, how God used the early church, ordinary people in extraordinary ways. Get ready because we are going to have a great time studying and following God's word so that he can take us to new horizons just like he took them.